Okay, everybody, come outside. Everybody ready for a wild, wet ride?
Slip, slip and slide. You can put it on your lawn. Turn the water on, then you run, 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 and you're sliding on your tum. Slip, slip and slide.
Oh, hey there. Don't mind me. I'm just having a cup of joe, watching the world burn as it careens out of control like a bus with its brakes cut towards a precipice overlooking a ravine of a deep, deep darkness. A darkness so viscous and thick, so oil-like in substance, that not even light can penetrate it, and at the bottom of which exists an undertow of such degeneracy and deviant thought and behavior that once submerged there is no escape. And as I sit here, enjoying this delicious cup of coffee, listening to the screams of agony of a world dying, I can't help but think of a slippery slope. Now, calm down, Redditors. I can hear the tickety-tickety tapping of your keyboards right now, but I want you to try to just calm yourself down for a second. Pull out your set of Legos, grab your Thomas the Tank Engine toy and make him vroom vroom around the room, and just calm that autism down. Just lower that down a few notches. And let's talk for a second. I know, God help us if anybody ever invents a time machine, and he can go back and bring all the Stoics into our age. By the end of it, Socrates isn't going to be drinking hemlock. He's going to be drinking Monster Energy and posting about anime titties because your copy-paste ability from Wikipedia is going to fuck him so hard on those logical fallacies, he's going to hang his fucking head in shame. But what is this notion of a slippery slope? The idea that one action will inevitably lead to a negative conclusion that you couldn't possibly predict. And we all know how bad logical fallacies are. Have you ever heard those logical fallacies about homosexuality? If we were to go through time and just look at the different attitudes and preconceptions of gay people, we'd clearly see that the worry that those back in the 50s and 60s had were completely unfounded.
The homosexuals, with CBS News correspondent Mike Wallace.
Homosexuality is an enigma. Even in this era of bold sexual mores, it remains a subject that people find disturbing, embarrassing, and the reluctance to discuss it. Yet there is a growing concern about homosexuals in society, about their increasing visibility. In preparing this broadcast, CBS News commissioned a survey by the Opinion Research Corporation into public attitudes toward homosexuality. We discovered that Americans consider homosexuality more harmful to society than adultery, abortion, or prostitution.
Can you believe those old white boomer bigots? More harmful than abortion? More harmful than prostitution? The gays? I think not. Luckily, our society is full of progressive people with open minds and liberal ideologies, always marching towards the beat of progress to lead us into a more golden age. And at the forefront of those great thinkers, of those open-minded masses, are the activists who are willing to stand up in front of the crowd and say, "No more. You must accept us for how we are."
Brothers and sisters, you must come out. Come out to your parents. Come out to your friends, if indeed they are your friends. Come out to your neighbors. Come out to your fellow workers. Once and for all, let's break down the myths and destroy the lies and distortion. For your sake, for their sake, for the sake of all the youngsters.
All the youngsters that like to lick those stamps. Oh, the little ones enjoy licking stamps. I like to play a game with the youngsters called postal delivery. Hey, Timmy, I got a big package. Why don't you close your eyes and give it a lick? It's old Uncle Harvey, and I got your mail for ya. But with those activists, their ideas begin to take root, and society's misgivings and preconceptions and stereotypes are swept away in a tidal wave of acceptance. And we can finally see what open homosexuality in our society can give birth to, the beautiful things that they're capable of, the contributions to our morality and our ethics and our philosophy and our way of life. helping to make society a greater and better thing than it was when they were absent from it.
Welcome back now. Believe it or not, there are actually some people who want to get the AIDS virus. The name on the street for some of these people is bug chasers, and the virus itself they call the gift.
Oh, I'm loving that techno beat. That techno beat makes me want to read some of the posts from that amazing forum. Like this one from Cum Dump. I met this dude online today. Big 8.5-inch paws dick. I got him talking about it. Said his strain was strong, lethal, toxic poison. My dick fucking sprang up and I started begging him. I went over. I started hitting the pipe. He did a slam. I licked the blood off his arm. I had to have his strain. I wanted him to infect me so bad. I was begging for it. And he went to the bathroom. He came back with a syringe full of his blood. I'd never had another dude's blood before. I stuck it up my hole, and he shot it inside me, scratching around. Then he fucked me, and he shot, mixing his babies with his toxic blood. So fucking hot. I know I'm gonna get a whole fuck flu out of this shit. It's so strong. Then I went to the bookstore and let 5 dudes fuck me and grind it all the way into me. I've never had something so hot inside me. I had to get it to take. He's gonna start knocking me up regularly. I can't wait till his shit is saturating me and producing inside of me. Woof. Well, I, for one, welcome this enlightenment into our society. Cum Dump here is really contributing to the neighborhood. All right, when I think of how to make a happy neighborhood, I think of 4-H club, after-school activities, Little League and soccer, maybe some volleyball for the girls, and Cum Dump, having somebody shoot AIDS-infected blood up his ass with a syringe needle. Because you can't spell community without fuck flu. But I want all you goddamn homophobes out there to remember, that Patient Zero story's bullshit. He was exonerated.
The myth of Patient Zero has been shattered. The Quebec man thought to be at the epicenter of the rise of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s has had his name cleared. CTV's Brian Dunstan here with that story. Brian, what is this study telling us about Gaetan Dugas?
Well, it's quite simply, it's telling us that 32 years after his death in 1984 from complications due to HIV/AIDS, Gaetan Dugas, the French-Canadian flight attendant tagged with the dubious moniker Patient Zero, has finally had his name cleared.
That's right, our gay little Canadian airline steward isn't responsible just because he fucked 250 dudes, spreading that shit around at every port of call. If you've read the science, you'll know the truth behind it. It was Haiti's fault. Haiti's and their well-known international effort to collect blood for people. And you know that little blurb at the bottom, not really important, the whole Haiti was a sex tourism destination for gay men. And that may have been the route the virus actually took. Okay, so potentially gay men are responsible for AIDS, but not that gay man. That gay man who fucked 250 other gay men without protection. That's not his fault. It's the gay men in Haiti. Those are the ones you should blame. Here's what I think happened. Haitian doctor Umbanga accidentally dropped a vial of blood that happened to be tainted with the AIDS virus. Now, this wouldn't have been a problem, but later that night, he had sex with at least 19 different men. You can't blame him. It was a lab accident. But thankfully, we can move past this. This whole notion of AIDS being a bad thing. But luckily, because we're such a progressive society and time does not stagnate, we're always marching forward. We've come to the conclusion that just because you intentionally infect somebody with HIV or AIDS, that's not a felony. That's a misdemeanor. You know, a misdemeanor like this, public intoxication. This gentleman right here, stumbling around because he had too much vodka, is equally as guilty as a man who goes out and intentionally infects people with a lethal virus. Getting drunk in the park is equal to killing people with your death sperm. And because we exist in this new age of a renaissance, why stop at adults? Let's give some babies AIDS too. by opening the first HIV-positive sperm bank, just to show people we don't give a shit. I mean, after all, the baby can't sue you. It's just a misdemeanor now. Well, they probably can't sue you because they're going to be dead in 3 years. Now, clearly, these are well-adjusted, contributing members of society. We should be thankful that they're out of the closet now.
Well, we actually call that the fuck pew. The Southern Baptists wouldn't take too kindly to that, but, it's made exactly the right height so the bottom boys can get on it and the tops do their thing. So we designed it, and it's been pretty popular. And generally the parties are split between fucking and fisting, and the fisting guys will tend to stay over in this area here. And then the guys over here just for the fucking, then we'll take care of the rest of it.
I've been in the hospital 3 times whenever we spoke. Since then, I've been in the hospital twice.
Parties are very popular, and there's no judgments made one way or the other about the type of sex that the guys are going to have. And
Bill will say that barebacking didn't have anything to do with it. However, I somewhat disagree.
But the action is pretty hot and heavy here. It starts just almost immediately.
I still do it. It's my choice. I enjoy it. I don't like to use a condom. There are a lot of dangers to barebacking. I don't play at the parties as much as I used to because I do tend to get sick easier than most people. And some of the diseases I have, like I said, they don't know what they are.
They don't even know what I got. Well, I might have a clue. Could it possibly be dengue fever? Considering that gay men have now brought into the world another new STD that never existed before, one which is only transmissible through mosquitoes, until 2 gay dudes in Spain butt-fucked so hard they gave each other dengue fever and somehow have now made that an STD. That's what I call a Goku get 'em attitude. These boys can get it done. You've just got to believe in the heart of the cards, Yugi, and then you can infect your enemies with dengue fever by shoving your penis up the rectum. And since we're such a tolerant society, we really need to teach our kids about these wonderful things by introducing it as curriculum in their education.
The ladies are still sitting here.
Okay, so answer me why you're teaching pedophilia in school to 9th graders.
Teaching what?
Pedophilia, pederasty, right here.
Pederasty, as I discussed with you before, twice in my office when you come to view the materials, I've explained to you that this is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history. So this is something,
a man and a boy is a sexual orientation.
Something that's occurred in history, and so this is really important for us to include.
Yes, sexual orientation. Pedophilia is just a sexual orientation. What a heartfelt message to hear. And after they're done hearing it at school, they can go to the library and have men in dresses tell them that they can be a little girl if they really want to be. This is what I call a functionally sane group of individuals. This is the direction society should be heading. From simply not wanting to be called a faggot in the 1950s, to shoving syringes full of blood up each other's asses, creating new STDs, and telling 8-year-old boys they should put on some high heels and lipstick. And what better place to show off that newfound child pride in your body than at a gay pride parade, where people paint "put your loads here" on their ass cheeks and walk around with their cocks flopping about. Look at those meat puppets, dangling to and fro. It's like going to the zoo if the zoo could molest you. It's a celebration. Let the kids join in. See, that was some fun dancing. Nothing to get upset about. It's just a little boy / girl / whatever expressing themselves at a gay pride parade. It's not like they're surrounded by a group of degenerate old perverts salivating at the thought of a young boy in short shorts and nothing else undulating and gyrating for their entertainment. What does this remind me of? I can't quite place it. A large group of people jubilant with music playing in the background, sacrificing children to something. it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it somewhere before in like an old book or something. But the point is, these are the images we need to show children. This is gay pride. This is what they should be exposed to. At school and at the library, out on the streets and in the homes. Totally normal, moral, ethical, upstanding, ideologically pure behaviors. These are the ways that we want to raise the next generation. To say, hey, that's normal. That's not weird at all. Timmy, come on out of the closet and put on a dog outfit so your neighbor Bob can put a collar on you and bring you down to the twerking square at the Gay Pride Parade. Make sure to wear a G-string. You might make an extra $20 if you really gyrate. And if for some reason you have qualms about this, if you're a little upset, you don't want to do it, don't worry. The government is more than willing to step in and help by court ordering the castration of your son. I know hearing all these things might make some of you conservative bigots out there get a little scared. This might be a little upsetting to think about, that society literally wants to make your son put a dress on so they can molest them. Maybe you're tempted to just bury yourself in your work, hoping that this nightmare goes away and you wake up in a sane reality. I've got some bad news for you. I don't think going to work's going to save you very much anymore. It's almost as if the world decided to give up the crucifix for a cock and Christ for a coomer. Behold the face of your new Messiah. Get down on your knees and worship. I suppose what I'm trying to get at is this. Crazy shit doesn't just happen at once. Bad things don't just happen at once. The worst of the worst damage that can ever happen to a group of people or to a society is a death by 1,000 cuts. It's incremental changes, almost imperceptible changes, argued only on their singular points, taken out of context of the bigger picture, that allows you to reach an endpoint where the National Guard are coming to take your guns and your son is in a dress getting fucked by a pedophile. Those aren't two things that usually get advertised to the population as what's going to happen. Instead, people come forward and say they're going to be reasonable, that you need to listen to them, that you should accept it. It's just a small thing. But it's like working with a nice piece of marble. You chisel away at it, little by little, imperceptible little divots, adding up into something greater, until the end result no longer resembles what you started at.